Hello, hi. So today we're taking a look at the second challenge, which is the water efficiency analysis, and it's a very interesting challenge because it gives you the ability to query an interesting metric, which is the water footprint per kilogram of harvested yield. And for this challenge, we're tasked with querying the water usage and yield as well for farms and crops, so everything. And we're tasked to calculate the water footprint per kilogram. So that's like saying how much water we're consuming per 1 kilogram of harvest. Okay. And this is an interesting metric as well because you can compare with the standards. You can really see how efficient you are in terms of technical management, and you can compare with other people, with our producers or growers in the same industry. So that's like an interesting measure to have and to monitor across your season. So now, our objective is to get the total irrigation water, the total harvest yield as well, the average or the water efficiency, which is an average per hectare per kilogram, and then to round everything to two decimal places and filter on 24-25 season. Okay, got it. So let's start with the schema. We have the yield, which is a daily yield data for crops, and so it's a fact table. Okay, the crops, which is a list of crops grown in each farm, dimension table, just like the farms and seasons, and then another fact table, which is the water intake. Now, for the columns that we want to see are these ones. And we'll start with something very interesting, which is a CTE for the water for the current season. Okay. And I want to put it as a CTE because it gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of filtering, because some maybe the next season I want to filter on 25, 20, 26 season, and it will be much easier to incorporate it into my script than to have it in my main SQL query. So I'm gonna start with the CTE with the with keyword, and we're gonna call it selected season as. Okay. Now, what I want to do is select from the seasons table. Okay, so I'm gonna select season ID. Okay, season reference from seasons. Okay, and I'm gonna filter on season reference. Okay, and it should be like the 24-25 season. Perfect. Now let me just comment this and check whether this query runs correctly. Let me see if everything's correct. So, in the input, let's just get rid of this. There we go. Perfect. So this is correct. Now let's uncomment this. There we go. And we have our CTE. And as I said, it's interesting to have it as a CTE because next time it will be much easier to, just change the season, and it's gonna change in the other queries. So it's very important to have this maintainability and scalability in terms of queries. So now let's go for the main query. Now we want to have the crop and the farm reference, and these are basically dimensions that I'm gonna have from the crops table. Okay, so let's see the crop, and I'm gonna left join again with the farms, and I'm left joining because I want to make sure that every crop is shown, even though it doesn't have a farm, which is impossible technically. However, these are like interesting, guidelines to have, especially if the data is coming from an ERP or from a structured data standpoint. So if I left join with the farm, I'm gonna have the farm on farm ID, right, equals C farm ID as well. And then I'm gonna also add the farm reference. There we go. Next up, we have the measures, okay? And the measures here are the water used, the yield per kilogram, and the water per kilogram as well. And these will come from the fact tables, the yield and water intake. And first, let's join again and use the yield on y crop ID equals c crop ID as well. Let's join with the water intake 2 on w crop ID equals c crop ID. And then something that is interesting here is we need to filter on the season 24-25. So we need to add a condition on the left join here where the season reference equals 24-25. So what we'll do is we'll add another condition, okay? And we'll have y dot season ID, okay, equals, and we're gonna select the season ID from selected season, all right? Because it's obviously a CTA, I'm gonna have the same thing here, except here we're gonna filter on the water season ID. Perfect. So now that we have this, we can calculate our measures, and the first will be the sum of the water intake, all right, in cubic meters. So we're gonna call it total water used, okay. We're gonna calculate the total yield as well. So it's yield tons. However, we're gonna have to multiply by 1000 because we want it in kilograms as total yield kilograms, okay? And finally, the most important thing is the water per kilogram. So we're gonna have to divide this, all right, by this. So there we go. And we'll have to round to two decimals. There we go. As water per kilogram. And of course, as always, when using an aggregating function, we're gonna group by crop and farm reference. Perfect. Let's see if this runs correctly. Yeah, there we go. And so now let's see if the answer is correct. Boom, boom. Everything seems okay. I think it seems correct to me. Let's submit the query. There we go. Perfect. And next time, if you achieve a challenge, make sure to leave some feedback about the challenge, whether it's too easy or too hard, or do you want to see new things. I'm gonna keep adding, of course, new challenges. So stay updated and see you soon. Bye bye.